Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another Monday Morning Art Talk. Snooch! So today I wanted to talk a little bit about the industry from my perspective. I just recently read an article in Variety just about that Captain Underpants movie that's coming to the theaters and how under budget they did a model that they've really sort of in their mindset. You know, they wanted to see how low they could go in getting a feature film made, and that was intentional. And Jeffrey Katzenberg stated this back in 2015, that was the goal. That's what they're trying to do, is cut down on the production costs. Because a lot of these movies, they get super expensive. They go through, you know, they'll be developing it, and all of a sudden then they decide they want to do a rewrite, but they've started production, and then they got to stop people from working. So a lot of times, even at these major studios, people are sitting around doing nothing, just waiting for the script to get fixed, and there's a lot of money that's being spent all around, as opposed to, hey, let's kind of commit, let's get the script done first, let's get that nice and solid, and then we can start moving into production. But anyway, that, you know, and then sending it all overseas. So it's good for a lot of people that are living in other parts of the world. If you're in Canada, if you're in India, if you're in the Philippines, if you're in a lot of these other places where a lot of the animation's going, you know, it's your turn is what's going on. It's your turn. It's like the growth, the hub, everything that began here in the United States. You know, we had our time. And as, you know, hard as that is to hear, that's the truth of the matter. And now but it doesn't mean that animation's dead by any means. I mean, this world of entertainment is just growing by leaps and bounds. But it's just now people are starting to try new things and discover new things. And how can we bring the budget down? And I worked on a movie that I'm not going to mention a couple of years ago. And as I was working on that movie, it was a feature film. That was their whole model, you know, and there was a smaller studio doing it, but the whole model was try to get this as cheap as possible. And my opinion at that time, and I told the director, I said, if they succeed at this by spending as little money as they do, and the movie does super well, that's it. Game over. It's just like that's going to be the new model. So it's so fascinating to see that this is even more coming down the pipeline now, that this is what's going to be happening, and it's just you got to go with the times, and it's not something to resist or fight or just be upset about. It's just like this is where we are. We're moving so fast in technology that not only has it opened up so many doors and given so much more potential, so many more avenues for growth. You know, again, what we're facing is through that we're just, you know, we're going to be losing jobs too. It's like it's sort of this weird thing. We're gaining and we're losing at the same time. But because of this, it sort of makes sense, and it has to go this way. So it could have been these not as many studios producing animation. There could have not been mobile apps, mobile games. There could have not been the video games that we have today. There could not be, all these things could just not have existed to which they didn't at one point. And that's what you got to think about, is this whole industry has grown, is developed, is emerging out of this new technology, but relatively new. We're talking 15 years maybe? Yeah, well, a little bit more than that, maybe 15, 20 years, 30 years, not even that. I mean, it's been not more, I'd say, because of the internet, really, about 13, 15 years. But beyond that is where we're just starting to see this whole new world. And knowing that none of this stuff existed before, you go, God, there wasn't all this opportunity, but you know what there was? There was all this opportunity. And think of all the artists that came before you. It's not like we're just new all of a sudden, that we just appeared on this planet, and now there's so many of us. Granted, there's a lot more people wanting to get into this and do it now because of the internet has opened up so many doors. But the reality is, all these artists before this went through the exact same thing. What did they go through? They went through where there was the golden age of illustration, where before photography. Think about what happened before photography. Okay, it was illustration. Everything had to be hand-drawn, from the Sears catalogs to magazine articles and just, I mean, books. I mean, you name it. Everything had to be drawn for advertising especially. And moving on, and the comics, and you go on. And it was a whole different era. And all of a sudden, photography started to come to bouts where they're starting to really use it for advertising and film and for posters and all this, where it was all hand-drawn before. So, you know, yeah, I'm sure a lot of the artists, and you can talk to that generation, sort of freaked out and panicked at that moment, like, oh my God, we're going to be replaced. You know, photography's taken all our jobs. The same thing that we can say now, wow, in America, oh my God, all the animation's going overseas, we're losing everything. But you're really not, you know, you got to think about it like this. It's just, we're just in a new era right now, and you got to accept it. And that's what it comes down to, and things you got to do for yourself. So during that time where photography started to replace illustration, well, what happened, there became a need of humorous illustration, and that really was the birth of humorous illustration. And that's where you got guys like Jack Davis and Mort Drucker and all these guys who just, you know, Stark, and all these guys who thrived in this industry because photography couldn't replace humor. Right? So you could have that thing. So this is where we started to see a lot of this, you know, come about, and even in animation. And you think about Chuck Jones and all this era of what started and what slowly went away, where animators have been replaced for many, many years. This is nothing new. Animators have been out of the sort of working in-house for many years. It's nothing new. They were going through that back, you know, in the 70s, you know, and 80s and 90s, where after everyone, especially Warner Brothers, they were doing all the animation, all those great shorts we saw, you know, the Tom and Jerry, the Hanna-Barbera. A lot of the animation was done in-house and eventually started going overseas. Why? Because it was a lot more cost-effective for the studios, and that's what we got to realize. And in all honesty, it's like everyone's trying to run a business here. We're just part of everyone else's business model. So we're involved in their business, and so we got to play by their rules, and it's plain and simple, because it's their money. So what's the opposite thing we can do from that? Well, we can decide to play by the rules and do this and be a part of this, and sometimes that means working for the studios where we're not maybe getting as much, like, you know, anymore. They're cutting back on pay, and they're doing things, or people in Canada and these other parts of the world who are getting paid a fraction of what, you know, artists were getting paid out here. We're still doing a lot of the pre-production, a lot of the thought bubble and everything. Think Tank is out here, you know, it's starting to expand, of course, and it will. But this is where you have to take the control and realize, listen, it's time for you too to start to think about what it is that you truly want to do. Do you want to stick within this? Are you in for the long haul, and you want to be an artist the rest of your life and just make a living at this? Well, great. With that attitude, all you can do is keep doing what it is that you enjoy doing. Don't think about where you might end up, whether you're going to get a job. Should I do this? Just start digging deeper and saying, you know, do I love character designing? Do I love animating? Do I love effects animation? Do I love storytelling? Whatever it is, keep pursuing that. And don't worry about where you're going to end up, because there's going to be enough that we're going to find ways, and there's going to be those studios still here. It's not going to completely shut down and be gone. As long as there's kids on this planet, there's all this stuff and content's needed. Listen, we're in a world now where we're just trying to entertain ourselves, and that's all anyone's trying to do. We've figured out the eating. We've figured out the how to clothe ourselves, how to feed ourselves. You know, we've figured all this out, how to shelter ourselves. And all businesses are trying to do right now is create more content. Why? Because That's what's keeping us busy now. That's what's keeping the human race busy, is trying to think about that content, especially in our Western civilization, you know, where we have, you know, we live the way that we do. All right, so this is something for you just to embrace, but don't give up on what you're doing just because you think, oh my God, I live in America and there's not going to be any jobs, so I'm just going to give up and not do this. Or I'm a freelancer and I'm just going to give up because I'm not getting the work right now. Don't worry about the fact you might not be getting the work right now. Just continue working on the stuff that you love doing. Even if it means you got to get another job and do something else and do something different, it doesn't mean stop doing and stop producing. It's your purpose to keep producing no matter what's going on in this industry, because eventually that job's going to find you, or you're going to find that job. But again, more importantly, the independence, you know, that book idea you have, the things. Look, there's conventions, and I've said this 1,000 times, there's conventions popping up every weekend now. I mean, it's just why? Because people are starving for content. People are getting bored of just wanting to sit home all day. You know, we're social animals, all right? We're human. We're social. We have to interact with people. We have to get out. And that's why we're going to start seeing the rebirth, in all honesty, of people connecting with each other and being more present. That's just the way that we are in the world right now, and that's where it's going. So you as an artist need to make sure that you want to be a part of that. So that means creating your own content, doing your own stuff outside of studio jobs, outside of all this. If you're not working, you should be working. You should never not be working. You should always be working, even when you're not technically getting paid for it by someone. You're working towards what it is that you're truly, your end game, but there is no end game, but you know what it is you're trying to achieve at that moment, because it's going to constantly change. But just be aware of the fact that it is a different time. This is the way that it's going. I'm sorry to say, you know, just be prepared. Follow the Boy Scout motto. Just be prepared. Just do your best. Just keep going. Work on you. Work on the things that you want to improve upon. Keep getting better at doing the things that you want to do, and start setting up your own way, to creating your own path. Now, this is the way it is. Okay. Anyway, I hope that gives any sort of little insight. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Take care. Hello, this is Steven, and I just wanted to tell you about this cool thing that I'm doing right now through my website at silvertunes.com. It's a Skype mentorship. In a sense, what I want to do is just talk to you, meet you, tell me about things that are happening in your life, see if there's anything that I could do to help you. I can look over your artwork, do your portfolio, and just maybe try to push you in the right direction that you want to take your life and your journey. All right, so you can go to silvertunes.com, go to classes, click on mentorship, and you can learn all about it. We can try to arrange a time, set up a date. It doesn't matter where you live in the world. And I just wanted to make it just very affordable, just to open it up, because I love doing this. I love meeting people from all over the planet. It's a really cool thing, and with this technology, why not? So that's it. Thanks. Whoa! Hey. Go back. Go back. Great, go back. Go back. Ha ha ha.